Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Saskia, I'm a yoga teacher and I'm passionate about making yoga accessible for everyone. Today's session we're going to be focusing on getting into the splits, the front splits. So Hanumanasana in Sanskrit. Don't worry if you're super far away from getting into the splits, and also don't worry if you feel like you're never going to be able to get in there. That's all fine, we're all built differently. So some of us will be able to get into the splits fully, with practice and a lot of stretching, and some of us won't. So, and that's fine, but we can all still work on getting more flexible and just enjoy the stretch. So that's what we're going to do today. For this practice, I'm going to be using a strap, and I'm also going to use my bolster and possibly my blocks as well. So just grab all the props that you have, and then we can get started. So feel free to pause the video if you need to grab your prop, if you need to grab your props, and then we can get started. All right. So to start, let's just make sure that we're grounded. So find yourself a comfortable seat. So you could be sitting up on a block or maybe a blanket or a pillow, anything that helps you sit up nice and tall with a straight spine. And from there you can close your eyes if you're comfortable. Hands resting on your knees or maybe in your lap. And take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Once more, breathing in through the nose and rolling your shoulders forward and up. When you get to the top, start rolling your shoulders back and down and exhale through your mouth. And then breathing normally in and out through your nose. Taking a moment to settle in. And on your next exhalation, you can blink your eyes open. And we'll start by laying on our back. So grab your strap because we're going to use it straight away. So coming to lay all the way down, keeping your knees bent. We're going to stretch into those hamstrings. Because if we want to get into the splits, we need to stretch the hamstrings first and foremost. So take your strap and make sure you've got a loop like so. And then bring it around to the middle part of your foot. And then make sure that you can hold on to it. So I like to make this loop a little bit bigger so that I can sort of rest my arms down. It just makes it a little bit more comfortable. You see now my elbows are on the floor. So see if that works for you. You can do whatever you want, or if you want to hold on here, that's also fine. So holding it here, and if your foot is all the way up, like mine is, so if it's sort of straight over your hip, or maybe even here, then you can start thinking about straightening your left leg. If you find that your foot is here, then I would say keep your left knee bent and just work on the stretch from here. So see what works in your case and breathe into the stretch that you feel. So this might be quite intense already. I will hold this for a few breaths just to get the stretch in there. You can close your eyes if you're comfortable. And if your left leg was straight, let's bend into that knee, and then you can bend into the right knee and relax and take the strap away, and we'll move to the other side. So taking your loop of the strap around the middle of the left foot, and the same The same goes here, so you can either keep it here with your right leg bent, or if you feel you can do it a slightly more intense stretch, you can start to straighten that leg. And maybe you don't straighten it all the way, maybe you keep it here. So for me, my left side is definitely less flexible, so this is enough for me. But see where you are. Find your edge. So you really want to feel the stretch down the whole back of the left leg. And depending on your flexibility, you might feel it more in the calf or more in the hamstring. So let's take a few breaths here. And start to bend to that right leg. Relax the left leg, remove the strap, and you can place that to the side. You won't be needing that anymore. And come into sit up, and we're going into our lunge from here. So I'm going to be using my blocks. So if you used blocks underneath your hands, it might allow you to go a little bit deeper into your lunge, or maybe it just makes it a little bit more comfortable. So feel free to play around with any props that you want to use. So from tabletop, stepping your right leg forward and take it as far as is comfortable for you. We want to try and keep the right knee over the ankle and sinking the hips down as far as you can. So we're really stretching into the legs here. And your blocks can be at the same height as I have them, or maybe you have them down here, or you can also have them like this, keeping your chest up, really sinking the hips down. See what works for you. And again, you can close your eyes here if you're comfortable. We'll stay here for a few breaths. And try to relax your hips. And from there, start to push your hands into your blocks, starting to straighten that right leg, bringing your hips back. And maybe you need to bring your blocks back as well, coming into our half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Really stretching the back of the right leg. And again, holding it for a few breaths here. Breathe into that stretch. Let's make this a little bit more dynamic. So still keeping your blocks underneath your hands, and we'll come back into our lunge. So as we breathe in, we come forward into our lunge, sinking the hips down. And every time you breathe out, bringing the hips back again into our half splits. And we'll do that a few times. So breathing in, coming forward, sinking the hips down. Exhale back. Twice more. Inhale, coming forward, sinking your hips down, maybe bringing the chest up. Exhale, hips back, lengthening that right leg. Last one here. Exhale. And from here, we can start to play around with our splits. So I'm going to be using my bolster here, because I know that I can't quite reach the floor in this pose. So the bolster will help give me some stability. So you can use your bolster as well, or if you know you're going to be quite far from the ground, use your blocks, place them either like this or maybe like this. see where you need them to be. So you use your props really to just lift the floor up and to support your hips. So with your props in place or not, I mean, if you know you can go into the splits, then there's no need to use any props. Stepping the right foot forward over that bolster or blocks, start to walk it forward. Or maybe you have a more slippery mat and you can just slide into it and see how far you can get. Allowing to sink down, straightening both legs, and see how long you can stay in this pose. So if you feel like this is too much for you, you can also just take half splits pose again. Maybe walking your hands forward if you're there. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. One more breath here. And on your next inhalation, coming out of the pose any which way you want. And we'll do that same sequence on the other side. So place your bolster to the side, come back onto your blocks, and from tabletop, stepping your left foot forward. And then just see if you can come all the way forward, depending on your flexibility. Like I said, my left side is definitely less flexible, so maybe you notice as well that one side is a little bit more flexible than the other. That's completely fine. We usually have one side that's stronger or more flexible. So let's stay here for a few breaths. Really breathing into the stretch you feel. Last breath in here. And on your exhalation, push your hands into your blocks. Start to straighten your left leg, bringing the hips back. Maybe taking your blocks with you. And we're coming into our Ardha Hanumanasana half splits. Breathing into the stretch you feel down the back of the left leg. And you want to keep this foot fairly flexed to deepen the stretch. Or if this is too much for you already, stay where you are. Or maybe you need to keep this leg a little bit bent, that's also fine. All of our bodies are different, so don't worry if what you're doing doesn't look like what I'm doing. A few more breaths here. And on your next inhalation, take the blocks forward slightly, and we're going into our dynamic movement again. So breathing in, moving forward, sinking the hips down, chest up. Exhale, back into our half splits. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And twice more, inhale forward. Really sinking those hips down. Exhale, straightening the left leg. And the last one. Exhale back. So now we've prepped our left side and we're going to go and work onto our full splits. So I'm going to use my blocks here because I know I will need them. Bolster on top, and once you're set up with your props, step your left foot forward and see how far you can get into your full splits. So for me, this one is definitely tighter, feels slightly more uncomfortable. But see if you can commit to the stretch, keeping your hips facing forward. And breathing into it. Maybe walking your hands forward if you can. Let's take one more breath here. And from there, let's come out of the pose. Move your props out to the side. And let's come to lay down on your back. We'll close our practice with effortless rest. So laying down, keeping your knees bent, walk your feet out to the edges, the outsides of your mat, and then let your knees fall in together. Your hands can either rest on your tummy or you can let them fall out to the side. And we'll just take a minute or so here. Letting those stretches settle into your body. And take a moment to feel proud of yourself for what you've achieved. We'll take a few more breaths here. And from here you can roll on to one side, and then with the help of your hand pushing yourself up, let's come into a comfortable seat. And we'll close our practice with a cleansing breath. So closing your eyes, sitting up nice and tall, rolling your shoulders back. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose, filling up completely. Exhale with a sigh. Bring your hands together in front of your heart, bowing forward. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next week for a new video. Bye.